What's up, everybody? It's your boy Fudge. I gotta put this down. Hang on a second. I got another feed I'm working on here. I don't know if it's feeding back. Now it is. Okay. I think that will help. What's up? Well, listen, I'm looking at you over here. I'm trying to figure out how to turn this volume down. There you go. I think that's what I got to do. Alright, how's that? Just should be a little bit better. You got two different angles here of me. I'm on my computer at home, and I'm a hand talker. Look at that. So today is Fudge Awareness Day. That's right, Fudge, your boy Fudge. Shawn P. Greene is the nickname. Where's the real name? Fudge. I've been going by Fudge for, who knows, 2003 maybe? So today is Fudge Awareness Day. And it's not really meant just to, exclamate Fudge as a nickname or Fudge as a persona. It's really meant to bring awareness to all the things that I do. Okay, I do a lot of events all over the globe. No, not really. I do events in United States, East Coast, and what I try to do is I try to host, promote, produce stuff that people might like. So I try to do the best I can to, I think this is real time. Yeah, I think I'm doing good. I'm in a fog here. I'm in a room here. I got a lot of things that you can see in the background if you want, but I'm trying to just focus on me sitting here, enjoying a moment in my home studio. Just bear with me while I'm trying to set this up here. I think this is a little bit better. You can kind of see what's in my house. But this is like a spare room I have in the home. I'm trying to promote everything that we've been doing the last 2 decades, really. I would say the last 2000, yeah, it's almost 2 decades that the actual nickname Fudge came about. and I was never really intending to ever do something like this. I never intended to do that. I was always thinking about basically what is the next thing I can do to keep my mind together, to keep my interest in this life. You know what I mean? Like there's just so many things I can do and contribute to. It could be damaging to some people, but rather than being damaging to some people, I want it to be constructive. I want to promote humanity at its best. I believe that what I was doing since I was a kid is I've always had an interest. Like I remember my father, little story. My father, when he was in his 20s, he was raising me. I mean, both my parents raised me, but my father ultimately, at one point, had custody of me as a child. And he would always do some fun things. Like he would do skits on audio recording. Like he would do, I'm trying to think how to explain it. He would produce these little cassette tapes, audio cassette tapes, to kind of entertain himself, really, and entertain some of his friends. Sometimes they would participate and record audio tapes back to him, but for the most part, my father was the one doing it. Set up a little portable tape player. He got eventually a little tape deck, dual tape deck, and then stereo microphone, and he would do all these skits. And to this day, I'm sad because I don't have that raw footage anymore, but I got the memories, and all that stuff dies with me. But it was an iconic, it was iconic, man. I loved it. I loved participating with my dad doing these recordings. Sometimes he would play guitar. Sometimes I would sing along, and I have a little guitar, and I didn't know how to play, but I would just strum along and sing along a fake song that he came up with. Sometimes it would be him producing something. I'm in the background coughing. We did a skit, like a Batman and Robin skit, one time. So my father participated. He kept me interested in being an entertainer, I guess, when I was a kid. And I got that bug from him. He was also he played 50s and 60s rock and roll music. Okay? 50s and 60s rock and roll. That he listened to, he liked. So I got a big, wide spectrum of all this music from that era. Okay, my mother also, like I said, she was into easy listening, so I got exposed to the Carpenters. We've only just begun, but none of them were into heavy metal. They weren't into rock. They weren't even into disco. They were into danceable stuff, but it was earlier stuff. So, you know, my repertoire of music is very wide, very wide. My interest is very wide. Moving forward, I was born in the 70s and I caught the hip hop bug. So, hip hop music pretty much changed me, and I learned, from the skating rinks. That's where I learned exposure to Christian, or not Christian, but hip hop music. I never really got exposure to a lot of Christian music, really, but my mother was kind of into that later in the 70s, early 80s. And, my father eventually, played some of that in the house when they got back together. So they introduced me to Christian music, like worship music. All along, I'm still listening to, kind of like softer modern rock. Wasn't into alternative stuff yet in the 80s. But lo and behold, Run DMC comes up. Run DMC is, in fact, I would I would say the biggest influencer of all my music interests, because I don't know how to explain it. I mean, the the sounds of the hip hop music from that early era. I mean, we had like, what's that song that came out? I'm trying to think what that song is called. Um, Rapper's Delight came out. So Rapper's Delight, big time, was a big influence on many suburban kids, I would think, as well as urban kids. And that right there kind of like set me up to be more interested in not just roller skating rinks, but dance clubs. So fast forward to late 80s, we were in the clubs. The Miami scene was hot, little Latin beats, Caribbean beats. That's what I was listening to. I also was a big fan of U2, so you've seen or heard a lot of references over the years to my interest in that group. But now, since the 90s, after I was in the Navy for 4 years, came out, the grunge scene was big. I was big into that music, big into the Kurt Cobain and Chris Cornell and, you know, all the greats from that era. And so grunge music was probably better, more off my favorite style of music overall. And I would say to this day, that still is the biggest influence of music to me, playing the drums. As a drummer, I like hip hop beats, but I would say the grunge scene is my influence more than ever. And then I would say I decided to be a Christian probably 1996, and my pursuit of worship music started to play in. And I got more into worship music, even, U2 style drumming at my church. I think U2 was the biggest influence in modern worship music, especially like Elevation. Vineyard music, I would say, would be the first. And then hip hop again came back into my life, and that was because of my brother. My brother Brandon, who's went by the name Legacy, was a big influence in me drawing towards to the hip hop side of Christian music. So from the early 2000s, that was it. I became a big fan of Christian hip hop music. And then 2003, 2004, I started hosting events. I launched Flavor Radio Network in 2004. I started doing a podcast, I think in 2005. 7 is when I started recording interviews at Flavor Fest 2007, and I started a podcast from that called The Spice Rack Show. And eventually I moved around again. I moved from Florida to downstate New York, near New York City, in Orange County, Middletown specific. And I got into Rat Fest and all that stuff, mid 2000s. Created new shows from that, from the Spice Rack Show. Just all kinds of stuff. I just got really involved in Christian hip hop. And when I was working at Walmart distribution, I became known as Fudge because, real simple, because I was working on the assembly line and we were throwing all these little boxes that were kind of flat, but we throw these boxes on a conveyor system, labeling them to what store they're going to go to eventually. And they had descriptions of all these boxes they were floor mats. One floor mat was fuchsia, another one was forest, and the third one, it was called fudge. That was the description of the coloring. It was like brownish, I'm sure. I don't even know what it looked like. But I frustrated. I was a little frustrated that there was another guy named Shawn that worked with me in the same little area. And when people would call out that name, I would turn around and thinking they're calling me out. And it was, it wasn't me. Not trying to quote Shaggy on that one, but it wasn't me. So I just looked for a way to distinguish me from that person. I ripped the title, the little sticker of the description of that fudge floor mat. I put it on my name badge over my real name. And from that point on, people started calling me Fudge. And they got used to it, and that was it. There was no other explanation. There's no other reason why I would have done something like that. I mean, I enjoy a good gag. It's April Fool's Day. But today, right now, April 1st, 2022. But it wasn't a joke. It was a real thing. It was a real person doing something funny, that's all. And people loved it. It's kind of like it was a way to kind of make fun of me, self-deprecation. Is that what you say? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. So, why would I use this nickname now after that point? It was in a warehouse. I was Fudge. It wasn't anywhere else. Why would I use this nickname? Well, when I started doing events as a host, I started carrying over that nickname into my personality events, hosting events. It was mostly like initially it was a cafe where we had open mics and stuff like that. And I loved it. I really enjoyed doing this hosting. It was great. So I used that nickname and I prayed one day. I said, God, I want to honor you with what I do. How could I honor you with a nickname like Fudge? Because, people can pervert anything. People can pervert the stupidest thing, and Fudge is no difference, okay? And I'm not going to try to be descriptive, but you can imagine. So I used it, and God sent me to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 1, I believe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that Bible verse. Give me a second while I look this up. Right, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. That was one of my scriptures from, one of the things this week. But that's not what I was looking for. There's an actual scripture in Corinthians. Let me see if I can find it though. Bear with me. Keep in mind, this is Fudge Awareness Day. All the different events that I've done over the years. I've done Fifth Fridays at the Bread. That was another great thing I did. We'll get into that in a minute. But while I'm doing that, I'm researching this. Just be patient with me. Okay, the fool in the heart says there is no God. Let's see if I can find any version. Doesn't matter. Foolishness. I'm trying to get all versions. No. I'm going to have to go to the trusty old Google, search for this one. And I'm going to try to find this reference. Foolishness of God, okay? Because this is why I'm doing this, because I'm showing you where this description comes. And I have to wear my glasses for this one, guys. Foolishness of God, there it is. Corinthians 1:1. I was right. Let's just go to Bible book list. I love this tool. It's great. It's so quick. Paul called to be apostle under the church, Corinthians, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm not trying to belittle the words here. Basically, FUDGE is an acronym. Okay, I'm going to say 1 Corinthians 1:21. The whole verse talks about, God's wisdom and man's foolishness. Verse 21. For after that, in the wisdom of God, the world by wisdom knew not God. It pleased God by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. Basically, the preaching the gospel, okay? Preaching the gospel is considered foolishness. It's considered foolishness to man. All right. But it pleases God. Go back to the verse. Where is the wise? Where's the scribe? Where's the disputer of this world? Hath not God made foolishness the wisdom of this world? That's right. God's made that. All the wisdom of this world, he made it foolishness. That's the question. For the Jews require a sign and the Greeks seek after wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified. Unto the Jews a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks foolishness. We preach Christ crucified. The Greeks, or the non-Jews, or sometimes referenced as the heathens or whatever. Preaching Christ crucified is foolishness. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, or Gentiles is another way to say Greeks. Both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God, the wisdom of God. Because the foolishness, there it is, the foolishness of God is wiser than men. And the weakness of God is stronger than man. So I adapted this, okay? I made this nickname Fudge as a nickname, an acronym, okay? Foolishness under the direction of God eternally. It's that simple. So Fudge is an acronym for that. How you like that? Fudge Awareness Day. That's what we do for this kind of a day. Explain to you why we use what we do, why we do what we do, what we're doing. That's what Fudge Awareness is all about today. If you want to see anything, you want to read on that more, you could. But that's what it is. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 25 is where I get the reference from that. And that was like the sign for me. And I said, God, I can't use it without your permission. Can't do it. God, you are the creator of all things. You know all things. You do all things. You are all things. So I am not going to use a name that doesn't give you some sort of glory or honor. Regardless of humanity's perversion, regardless of their reference to what that nickname could mean in their sphere of influence and their ideas, that's kind of like the world can get perverted easily. Okay, the world is perverted, so they'll pervert anything. But I believe this nickname has given me an opportunity to give glory to God, because people laugh, ha ha, foolishness, ha ha, fudge, ha ha, and nicknames and comments and all kinds of things you want to say about who I am and what I've done and what I'm all about. What do you think about this background music? Let's change it to something else. That was called dance pop. This is called daydreaming. Yeah, buddy. All right. Probably. I hope you don't hear an echo. Do you hear an echo? I think you do. Oh well. I do have my mic muted, but it comes through the audio of this camera. So I'm doing multi-camera, but it's actually just a cell phone. It's just my cell phone. I'll show it to you. That's it. Just my cell phone. All right. And I'm showing you my screen from my cell phone. It's all it is. Just a cell phone. Nothing special. Just a vessel. Nothing special. As Zadok, the God MC, says. An old associate of mine in the Christian hip-hop world here in Buffalo. One of the reasons why I do what I do is I feel like, and I could be completely off, and I don't make myself as all knowing. Okay, that's reserved for our Lord Jesus Christ, Yahweh, the Creator. Okay, the Holy Spirit. It's reserved for that, but I just feel like sometimes, I just feel like sometimes we fail each other, sometimes helping each other out, being supportive of each other, being friendly with each other, not trying to hurt people. Okay, that's it. That's all I got to say. I want to get back to why I'm doing Fudge Awareness Day. It's not real hype. This isn't like a huge hype show. I'm not trying to like, yo, be like a radio disc jockey and yo, check this out. Yo. No, I'm just chill. I want to bring awareness to what we got going on coming up, what we have done. I have talked about it before. Flavor Radio Network is kind of like the home base and kind of like has been the anchor for the things that I've done over the years. And I haven't been active on this. I went to college the last 4 years and I finally finished it in December. So now I'm kind of catching up on a lot of things, home improvement projects I got to continue, just making sure my life looks good as far as my curb appeal and functionality of a home, but also production of things where I'll put on hold, and including stuff at my church. But we're changing that now. And I know this isn't your best quality and your best presentation, but this is the basics. I got equipment. I got stuff. I need a little bit more help in some areas. So volunteering is a good thing if you can do that. Also, donations of any kind. If you see the screen down there, I got, depends on, okay, if you're looking at me in the front screen, it's down there, and I can move my hands over this way. I'm trying to be perspective wise this way. Down there. All right. I got two different views here, so it's fun to watch and listen to. So if you're interested, come on, help support. Just go down there. Fudge Awareness Day, April 1st, 2022. Donations can be sent to my government name, PayPal account, ShawnPG716 @gmail.com. But Flavor Radio Network has been kind of like the home base and the connection to everything else that I've done over the years. And I've had events that I've been to. This was kind of cool back in 2019. Hip hop's anniversary, not just Christian hip hop. We had some Christian hip hop representatives at the event, but hip hop anniversary, and Zulu Nation was kind of like the creators of all that. Flavor Radio Network turned 15 then, but it's now going to be, or this November 4th is officially the Flavor Radio birth date. I did the Masters Mix, which is a DJ competition. DJ 13 won the first one we did. DJ Psalm 51, I'm sorry, not 13. He won the first one. I want to do that again. Of course, again, I did it all for free. We had no submission fees or nothing. I post stuff on my website. I support artists from all over the country. I've done a lot of things whatever local area I lived in at the time. Tampa Bay, New York City, Buffalo, New York. I always supported the local talent, and I always did what I could functionally to help promote their name outside of the markets that they were in. Did that for Florida. Flavor Radio was actually the brainchild of a spin-off from Flavor Fest that Pastor Tommy Colonen created 2000, roughly, maybe in the early 90s, late 90s. But he became a youth pastor in 96. It's a long story for him. If you want to check it out, I know he's got a book out, I believe. But Pastor Tommy Colonen, aka Urban D, started a youth group at a church, and I don't know if it was crossover already, but became crossover eventually, dominantly by the youth. The youth exploded, and they had a label, kind of like a label. I don't know what you call it. It was a label. Flavor Alliance was like a group. It's like the Wu-Tang of Tampa's Christian hip hop scene. Of course, Wu-Tang was like a big deal by that time. So they had their own kind of like Latino flavor of Wu-Tang, Christian Latino flavor of Christian hip hop, called Flavor Alliance. And you can still find a lot of that music online if you check it out. Flavor Alliance. The hip hop shop at Crossover Church, which moved from the previous location near Lowry Park Zoo in Tampa to an old Toys R Us store on Fowler near the University District. Pretty tough area as far as I understand. Beautiful place. Multicultural church. I just visited there just recently. Did some video footage. I'll be putting that out. I'll show you a little bit more about what they've been doing over the years. So Flavor Fest was an event that's kind of like promote the church, promote, Urban D as an artist, the other artists that were on the Flavor Alliance group, promoting their their projects. And then my brother began to be a part of the leadership, and he was very good producer of beats and music, made his own music, started producing for Flavor Alliance. And then I just I rode his coattails for many years just to help promote his music. That was pretty much my incentive, was help my brother get his music out there, even though he was established locally and people loved him in Tampa Bay that were into the music. But outside that market, there was nothing. So he was my first attempt at bringing an artist's awareness outside their market. And so that was it. That became Fudge the promoter at that point. And then 2014, after a year of trying to promote my brother, I was like, okay, we need more platforms, which we had some. Rapzilla was a year before me. So was Holy Culture. They were a year before me, before I started doing something. And I kind of copied their model a little bit. I ain't going to lie. But I launched Flavor Radio, flavorradio.com initially, and now it's flavorradionetwork.com. But that was the whole purpose. Was I got all these interviews from all these artists that came in 2004. I got all these podcasts and DJs and all these other people that I met with no real platform that was solid. Even though there was a blog, so to speak, Holy Culture Radio was actually there. Awesome. Holy Culture Radio had it on lock when it came to playing a radio programming. And Rapzilla was about information and blogs and who was doing what. So Flavor Radio was just kind of like a complement or a supplement with a focus on Florida Christian hip hop artists. So initially I was just doing Flavor Alliance, and then I expanded to like Raw Servant, and then One Way down in, I think they were down, no, they were, I can't remember where One Way was, but there was other artists, I can't remember them all, from Miami, Orlando, Manuel, the what's the name of their God crew or something like that, Group One crew from Orlando. Manuel was part of that Group One crew group, and I think they were all getting networked into these are all before all these people got signed to these Christian outlets, labels. So, and there was another group of people I worked with on the Christian rock side as well. Real Life Church was in Tampa. Big Greek, the late Big Greek pastor, man, what was his name? I don't remember his name. Sorry. But we had a good pastor that did the rock side of things, Christian rock. Got to meet a lot of Christian rock bands. Fireflight was one of those bands that was pre-signed. I got the beat, and I did events, and I hosted, and I was a MC at the stages for some of the events they did. I MC'd some of the stages at Flavor Fest. I just had a good time with these people. Building my network of artists, creative people, musicians, producers. And I just leveraged it, created Flavor Radio Network using the persona Fudge, and made podcasts out of it. I did interviews. I did all kinds of video blogs and MySpace stuff, and I can't even find that no more. I can't remember half of the stuff, but I have a lot of raw footage that I collected, saved on external hard drives for the last, since 1988. I've been collecting all my footage for different things. But the Christian hip hop side of things, I collected 20 years worth of data and pictures and short videos and clips and all kinds of, you name it. And one day we'll have a documentary from that. So Again, that's what Fudge Awareness is all about. The Fudge Awareness is to bring awareness to the fact that I am doing things, I'm producing things, I'm finally getting back into the game of some projects that I've set aside for all this time. And I want you to be involved. I want you to support it. I want you to contribute, share links of things that I've done. Go to Flavor Radio Network. Go to, excuse me, go to the shows that I've produced over the years and listen to them again and comment on them. And let's bring some of the interest back in some of these things that I did produce so that I can, you're basically encouraging me to continue doing it. But I want to keep doing some new things. I have fresh ideas. I'm a filmmaker now. I'm a producer of radio. I got a lot of things that I do. Very, very creative, if you will. But I need support, and I want to build a bigger team for production case purposes. And I host some events. So your contributions will help. Get back to Fudge. What's up, Fudge? There's a lot of people pronounce the name different ways from different parts of the country. My favorite is Fudge. And I remember watching Key and Peele. They were doing like nicknames of, or names of different football players in the draft, or like in a game or whatever, all-star game, and one of them was Fudge. I thought that was hilarious, and a couple people shared that with me. So why would I do all this stuff? Why does it matter? It matters to me. Gifts, I would say. One of my gifts, why it matters to me, is I'm an encourager. Okay? I encourage people to be creative, to express themselves. Okay? I think it's important to do that to creative people, because most people who are creative, and they get discouraged a lot. I know, because I'm one of them. You get discouraged because you feel like what you're doing is not impactful, and people they don't get you. They're not listening to your message. You feel a little frustrated. I've been that way. I did this one time when I was in Florida. I worked at an AM station on the weekend for what they call the God Squad, playing the cassette tapes or DVD or CDs on the radio of sermons from different denominations around the region, or that pretty much the town itself, because it was really a smaller station at the time. It was WWJB 1450. It was an AM station, and I loved working there. But it really became a news talk station. It wasn't really meant for programming, for music. And I was into the Christian hip hop world, Christian rock, and I played my own little show in the morning, Sunday morning resurrection, and I played Christian hip hop, Christian rock. But I had an old lady call in one time and say, "Hello, yeah, you're out. How can I help you?" And she goes, "Are you one playing that music?" I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "What's that noise?" I'm like, "Listen, man, I'm in my 30s at the time. I think I was in my 30s. Let me think about that. 23 years ago. Yeah, I was in my late 20s, actually. Late 20s, working at this station, playing stuff that makes me excited. Late 1990s, early 2000s style of music, but in the Christian world. And I had this 90-year-old lady call in on the station questioning my choice of music. That's when I knew I really wasn't a good fit for that station, because I really, I was a board operator, and I played all the games, the commercials that were local, and before total automation took over, as a board operator, this is what I did. So I don't know. I just kind of lost interest in trying to support other radio stations, formats, purpose when I was younger. So had to create my own little outlets. But you get discouraged. There was times at that station, though, I was very discouraged, and even on air live in the morning, I was asking, "Hey, call in," and nobody was calling in, and I was like, "Is anybody listening?" Blah 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 blah. And I was crying to myself inside, and then within a week, I was let go of that station. So sad. It was sad news for me, but it was hurtful to my ego. Like, I really thought I could do something with this, and it was taken away from me about 2001. But since then, I was on the air downstate New York for a little while, WSUL, and I learned some things there. WTBQ was a AM station that really I didn't have a show. I had some plans, but I never pursued it. Had training on sales and stuff like that, and that's about it. Well, here I am, Buffalo, New York. I'm still the owner of Flavor Radio Network. I'm still a producer of podcasts. Right now, I got the one called Shawn P. Greene Show. You just go to ShawnPGreene.com. You'll see that. Even in this context, I've attached Fudge to that website because Fudge doesn't have his own website. I speak in third person. So Flavor Radio Network is the home base for anything Fudge related, including the One Accord DJs, OneAccordDJs.com. One Accord DJ Alliance is another entity we created in 2008 with me and a couple other DJs around the U.S., one of which passed away in 2011, and since then we kind of just fell apart. But I'm still in control of that. Still haven't done anything with that. Christian Rhythmic was another concept before that I created as kind of like a news outlet, and just didn't have time to produce the articles or the videos that I wanted to back then. So that's all going to go in a documentary. What else? What else have I done that's music related, Fudge related? When I moved to Buffalo initially, well, actually, I was born and raised here in Buffalo. I left in 1989 when I joined the Navy. Stationed in San Diego for 4 years. 1990. I was gone in 1993. When I got out, I was married before I left. I conceived a child, and I basically lost my mind. And it wasn't because of that. It was what happened 2 months prior. I had an assault, traumatic brain injury, and I just started making irrational decisions. That's all it was. And I got consumed with drinking again. I mean, you're in the Navy, you get drunk from time to time, but I wasn't an alcoholic in my mind. But I did become one, and I became big on, tripping on acid more, a little cocaine, not too much marijuana. It was never my thing, but definitely I was drunk a lot, and I was just too much, and I lost track of who I was and lost my mind, really. The injury didn't do well for me. To this day, I still have remnants of issues. I got, the tinnitus is one part of it. But, I mean, I'm not making excuses here. I'm still creative, and I can still do some things. But I do have limitations, and I do the best I can. Sometimes I can communicate what I'm thinking right now, but sometimes I can't have a normal conversation in front of people. I can be a host. It's kind of like I've trained myself to be on radio, be a host of a show, a live event, a personality, can hide behind it. But deep down inside, there's still a lot of things going on. It's an issue I got to deal with. So, some of you already know. You know how messed up sometimes I am or can be. You know what I mean? Some of my Facebook posts or other social media posts, the comment I get is, "Man, you're stupid. Fudge, you're stupid." Well, I am at times. Even though I'm partially an intellect, it's a struggle to stay that way. Most of the time, I just got to be creative. I got to do something that's not in the lane of functionality. If it gets too rehearsed or too normal, sometimes I lose sense of where I'm at. I get anxious and nervous, and I need to be more creative. So, which is why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Let's try a different background song. Feeding the Ducks. There you go. It's got a little bass in it. How about that? So, Fudge Awareness Day, guys. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. What I'm going to do, I got to grab this. Fudge Awareness Day posted on the group page because I don't think it's on there. Got to post a link to it. Any questions, any comments, feel free to email. Go to social media site, wherever you're watching this. The Fudge Malloy Facebook page, the Flavor Radio Network YouTube page, the Flavor Radio Network Twitter page. I think I got 900 followers on Twitter, but none of them are aware of what I've been doing because I haven't been active on it. So this is kind of why, I have to relaunch everything I'm doing as Fudge April 1st, almost every year. Announcing what I'm doing and asking for donations, that kind of thing. Let me see if I can find a page to post this on that people. All right, Fifth Fridays at the Bread. That's a page that I run as well. Fifth Fridays in the Bread has been one of my favorite events I've done over the years. I landed when I came back here. Okay, here's the story. Finishing 1993, I got out of the Navy in San Diego, drove across country. My family moved from Buffalo to Tampa Bay area. So I moved in the Tampa Bay area, and I did Navy Reserves for a couple years. During that time, my daughter Sadie was born in Southern California, and I've never seen her until a couple years after that. And I feel I lost a lot of opportunity to be a man, not a coward. So, foolishness. I screwed up a lot of things in my life that I could have done better. So why would God want to use somebody that's a fool, an idiot, a jerk, a deadbeat, a drug addict, alcoholic? Why would God want to use somebody like that? That's the whole message of what the Fudge persona encapsulates. Why would anybody want to, like everybody hates Chris, everybody hates Fudge. Why would anybody want to just, forgive? Why? I'm going to try to keep sharing this to other pages. Fudge Awareness Day, it's not meant for everybody to tune in. I'm an acquired taste. It is meant for people who are interested in the productions, the events that I've put off. It's meant for me to help promote people who need help in promotions. They just need that little push. I'm gonna keep sharing this link. Maybe somebody will tune in. Nobody's tuning in live that I can tell on any of these platforms. Although I have all these followers and people who are subscribed, and I don't see anybody tuning in just yet. But I believe that people are going to watch this later. This is an all-day event. Fudge Awareness Day is an all-day event from, midnight till midnight, April 1st. So everybody's involved that wants to be involved. Support, share links, share this broadcast. I'm giving you an exclusive back behind the scenes of everything that I do, have done. In a little minute, I will discuss what I do plan to do. So coming back to Florida, I eventually decided to get my act together, and it took me a little time, but I tried to connect with my child over the phone, and it wasn't going to happen. I did go there to California three times. I went there, birthdays, and just to visit. Every visitation was required because I pursued it in the court. Every visitation was required of me to be supervised. Now, I was not a threat by that time to anybody. I might have been, 6 years prior to that, but by 2000, I really tried to connect with my child in 2001, and it was just met with much frustration by the mother. And she moved around, and she hid the address. She blocked me on social media when that became a thing. And it was like, it's been a struggle to try to figure out, okay, how do I find this child of mine that I really want her to know that I want her to be in my life and I want to be in her life. How do I find this person, connect with them, answer any questions they might have, and establish a relationship, a father-daughter relationship, not just a biological father who's out in the world in a distant place, but actual biological father situation. This isn't just an African American thing, people. I just want to say that there's a lot of people out there who are really, really bad thinking fathers. The ones that, there are some that are deadbeats, but they're not all black. Some of them are white. I'm the example of that. I'm a bad example as a father, but I'm the perfect example of what other people are deadbeats or have been deadbeats. So I was one. I own that. I own the fact that I could have done better. So please, there's a lot of great men and fathers out there, brothers and sisters in Christ, even non-Christians, that are great fathers to their children. And I want to stand up for those people who get ridiculed or have comments made about them, whether it's in the context of a comedy skit, TV show, stand up, what have you. It's unfair that people are stereotyped and labeled a certain thing based on race, color, creed, or even past experiences. People change. And I believe that I've changed for the better. Progress has been slow, but I'm here. I'm here and I'm willing and I'm able to do what is right. Okay, moving forward, I really did try. I went through a very serious depression for several years over it, beating myself up, more alcohol. It's not the answer, folks. You can't drown yourself in drugs or alcohol. But I did. Got out the funk, became Fudge, had a purpose in life finally. And I kind of hid behind this persona for over a decade. It was my way to just kind of like, okay, I could be this at least. I could pretend to be a human being with this name. And, some people celebrated me, and some people might have hated me. Doesn't matter, but that was my escape from being Shawn Patrick Greene. Because I started hating myself as Shawn Patrick Greene. The jerk, the fool, the idiot, the deadbeat, the druggy, drunk, stupid, lying jerk towards people. I didn't like myself. Having this Fudge name gave me a place to hide for a while. But I faced reality, got my mind together, I got my act together. Took me a while, I would say in my 40s, came back to Buffalo. Well, before I did that, I went up to upstate New York, downstate New York, according to us in Buffalo, but from New York City, it's upstate a little bit. It's in the Hudson Valley. I went there in 2005, stayed there for 5 years, hiding still. A bum, really. Didn't have a home, didn't have my own apartment, didn't have a place, didn't have a good career, didn't have income. Fighting this whole thing with a case out in California that finally was resolved 2007. Just so much drama. I can't explain it to you. So much happened. 2009, I started getting a little glimpse of what Shawn Patrick Greene is, what he could be. I reinvented myself, basically. 2009, I went to a casting call by Central Casting out of New York City. I did a couple gigs with them, but one gig in particular was a independent film called White Irish Drinkers, which was, it wasn't a Christian film, but it was something that gave me an opportunity to get out of my funk, begin to like myself again, begin to kind of wean myself out of promoting others and start promoting myself for once. Now, I promoted myself as Fudge, but not Shawn Patrick Greene. Nobody knew me as that. Some knew me as Shawn Fudge Greene on Facebook, which some people were watching this there. But moving forward, I got into film, and I never looked back. I got the bug. I still dabbled in music promotion, but it wasn't the biggest passion. I just wanted to learn more about film. So I jumped in a little bit more on some projects. 2013, I would say, was the best time. I would say my professional acting career was more pronounced and was really launched then. Got some really good projects I was in. But I started as Fudge. I started a thing called 2010. I moved from Orange County, New York, back to my home base, my hometown where I was born and raised, here in Buffalo, New York. And I started using Fudge a little bit, and I connected with the Christian hip hop scene here in Buffalo. I started, I was a drummer at this church I plugged into, and youth leader. I started an event called Fifth Fridays at the Bread. The place is called the Bread of Life Church in South Buffalo. Fifth Fridays was a quarterly event that happened on the months that had a fifth Friday. And I would bring in Christian hip hop artists from out of town. We would host, an outreach for the kids, bring them in and give them a concert that night. And it was fun. It was successful. Not talking about thousands of people, but it was hundreds that showed up at times, and sometimes it was 50. But we loved it. People that attended loved it. We had a good time. It was a good, training ground and a place for creatives to have an outlet. We even had Christian comedians host a couple of them, and Christian musicians performed. Rappers doing open mics that weren't featured. It was such a great event. I actually really loved doing the event. We had pizza, wings from our local places. We had some merch, but it was a great time to have quality events. Eventually, another guy that was at my events who put off events as well started doing a quarterly event called the ICU Zadok, the God Hop MC. And he started doing some promotions and brought in people he wanted to network with and be a part of. So he was very successful in that. Now he's running with Hog Mob. So shout out to Zadok. Pastor Stephen Foreman of Christ Crusaders Assembly down in right there on the East Coast was also a instrumental part in providing outlets for creatives and bringing in people. So Christ Crusaders Assembly did an awesome job. And of course, Pastor Curtis Minifield up in northern part of Buffalo hosted events, and now he's doing really well with his youth events. Awaken, I think, is part of it. Kingdom Bound is another thing. I mean, just all kinds of, there's so much that's happened here since I've been back to Buffalo. And I think God has reconnected me to my roots and got me back to liking who I am as Shawn Patrick Greene, all while juxtaposing Fudge, through this. So while I'm doing music stuff as Fudge, I'm doing film stuff as Shawn Patrick Greene. And now it's kind of like a dual role. I'm not hiding anymore. Let's just put it that way. I'm not ashamed to be who I am now, because people do change. People can be better. They can do better in life. They can be better people. So you got to give people chances. Eventually people will grow. It took me a long time to grow. It wasn't really until my 40s, when I moved back here 2010, that I actually was a human being again. I was a bum. I was worthless in my mind. Couldn't do much. Mentally, I didn't have the strength to encourage myself. I didn't have it. Mental illness is a real thing. It's a big deal. Fudge Awareness is really about mental awareness, if anything. Mental health awareness. So try a new song, Into Space. Now this is all the stock stuff that StreamYard does. I really appreciate you guys that are on listening to this. It might be the replay that you listen to later, but I want to thank you for that. Please just support some things that we're doing. I'm building a team, so we got more people involved, and I want you to be involved if you want to, in any capacity. But I also want you to help support financially, however way you can. I have a Venmo. It's also, I think, Sean PG 716. I have a Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Sean PG 716. Thank you, Willie P or Willie H. I got a donation from him. Thank you so much. You're the dude, man. Willie H is another Buffalo DJ. Goes by DJ Slack. Been in the game for a long time. Has done a lot of production, a lot of shows himself. He's a better producer than I am. He used to work for Time Warner. Spectrum is what it's called now, but Time Warner Cable. He produced some shows that he brought me in on as a guest a couple times. It was pretty awesome. I loved it. But I learned from a lot of these other people that do it better than me. I don't claim to do it the best. I don't claim that. There are people that can do things better than me, and I encourage people, do it better than me. But in the meantime, I'm going to work as hard, if not harder than most people, when it comes to putting these things together. So I'm here since 2010 now, 12 years. This coming June. This coming June, I've been here in Buffalo. And I'm excited to continue doing what I have to do here in Buffalo. If God calls me to another city, state, whatever, I'm all for it. But right now, Buffalo Braves, anybody see that? Buffalo Braves, right? Buffalo Braves was the basketball team that is now the Los Angeles Clippers. We had the ABA basketball team that formed into an NBA team that now is a West Coast team. We don't want that to happen to our Buffalo Bills. People are talking about, possibilities of things that could happen with the Bills. But I don't want to get into that. I'm not really trying to do a sports show. I might do a sports show in the future, but that would be under a different umbrella called God Chasers Sports. Not related to God Chasers Entertainment, Mr. Brinson Wright, who I did an interview with, by the way, on my show, Shawn P. Greene Show. And I encourage you to check that out. Brinson Wright, simply known as Brinson from the God Chasers Entertainment. He has a documentary that he's released, and that's what kind of I was spotlighting in that interview. And you have to go to that web page in order to find it. You got to go to the Shawn P. Greene Show, which I am the producer and host of. Just like this little Awareness Day broadcast. Thank you guys for listening and watching. See if I can find the restream link for. There it is. I got it. So I'm going to post this YouTube link if you want to type it in. But I'll put it somewhere else too if I have to. I'm posting this on my Facebook page, the Fudge Malloy page, if I haven't already. No, I'll put it on the Flavor Radio Network's page. Flavor Radio Network Facebook page. Go to flavorradionetwork.com. You'll get the links for it. So this is where I'm putting it now. Shawn P. Greene Show. You see me in my flannel, my 90s flannel. Flannel, when you're in Buffalo, it's cold. You got to keep yourself warm at all costs. So I just posted to the flavorradionetwork.com's Facebook page. Check out that Brinson Wright show. That solid interview. Talk about his program. So, Shawn P. Greene. Fifth Fridays at the Bread, man. That was a fun ride. Since then, well, actually, I started a newer podcast here in Buffalo, 2012. I started solo on what it was called Star Radio by TQ, a Buffalo gal who married and now is out in Connecticut with her new husband, Crazy One, Andre Griffith. So Tacoa Griffith, aka TQ, is where I decided to add a show to because she was asking for shows. I was like, all right, I'll create one. I just call it the Shout Out, and it was at Buffalo Shout Out on all the different platforms. That link's on flavorradionetwork.com under shows, I believe. Let's look for it. flavorradionetwork.com. Listen programs. So the Spice Rack show was my first one. That's what I launched after Flavor Fest. The Spice Rack show was, the whole purpose was to show the variety within Christian hip hop. The shout out was really to shout out anybody in Christian hip hop doing anything. So you see, I don't have a link to it, do I? The shout out. Uh-oh, froze. Oh no, we froze. We're frozen. Save us. Save us, Tom Cruise, with your Scientology. All right, so here's some of the links. It appears I got so much open that it's hard to let this computer run smoothly. It's not the most powerful computer. I'm not a gamer, so I don't have all the gaming, things to elements. Okay, I do have a link to it. So these were programs I put on Flavor Radio. They were not all mine. HBH Radio was DJ Will in Jacksonville, Jesus Peace Music, Ryland, and please forgive me, I forgot his name, out of Rochester. Live with Mr. C down in Queens, and his wife. Simply Inspiring Show, the 210 Holy Hip Hop Radio, and then my shows. Well, the Track Stars also, and then my show, the Shout Out, and the Spice Rack Show. Spice Rack Show was strictly me with, I added a guest host, Chapu, and then we had a couple other ones that did some shows with me, that special guests, but we didn't have interviews really. And initially, Spice Rack Show started with just all the interviews I had with my portable audio recorder at events, and I just put them on in the show as I was kind of producing it. I produced it with an old free program too. Audacity, I think I used, maybe. No, Cool Edit. That was my very first editing program for audio. Cool Edit 96, Cool Edit Pro, all that stuff. All right, so the shout out now, 2012, eventually started. It started with me. Eventually, we added Constant Battle as a co-host, and it became our show, Fudge. And we had special guest hosts with us, like Maine would be on the show with us, and we would play music throughout the whole time. We had a good time with that. I enjoyed it. It was funny. We did it on a weekly basis, and the rest is history. But we did that for 4 years. We ended it 2016, I believe, and we no longer have done a audio broadcast in a while. But we have done a couple video snippets. And I might have a playlist on that Flavor Radio link. Yeah, Just Good Music, June 2020. He and I did a little snippet. I've had him come on my show, the Shawn Greene Show, 2019 and then 2021. So there are times that Constant Battle came on my show, but he has his own show now that's strictly like an Instagram blast, if you will. So if you want to check him out, Constant Battle 1 on Instagram. He does Mondays and Fridays, I think, at 10 a.m. Does a little snippet commercial or little interviews with people on Instagram, which is a great platform that I will be utilizing also. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, I don't really have too much more to talk about. Oh, yo, I do want to talk about this. Went to college. I finished it in December, so for 4 years, kind of been stale. I did have some health issues before that. Some people know I had rotator cuff surgery, which that was quick recovery. But there's other issues I had to deal with the VA. Got that taken care of. Medications for certain things. Long story short, taking care of that, and then basically just get my act together more. Going to college, finishing that finally. 25 years of pursuing a bachelor's degree. I did make several attempts in between trying to go to school since getting the associate's degree in 98. I was 28 years old or 27 years old when I got my associate's degree. 50 years old when I got my bachelor's. So it's never too late, everybody. It's never too late. I want to encourage you, if anybody's listening, wondering, will I ever finish my school? Well, I finished at least my bachelor's, and I still can do a master's, PhD. I'm not dead yet. So it's a possibility. There's a lot of possibilities here. So what's next? Now that I'm done with school, December 2021, summa cum laude, honors roll, highest honors. I did well. I was very, very happy that I've done well. Never had that kind of a career in school before. Success, I mean. So now I'm here doing a Fudge Awareness Day. Once again, after a 2-year hiatus. Well, film production, podcasts, new events, supporting other people's events. There's an event coming up called Reaching the Unreached Fest. So let's talk about that real quick. This is not my event. I'm not on the board. I'm not on the planning of this event. But I want to bring attention to it. Reaching the unreachedfest.com. Jason Graham here, a young rapper in Buffalo. He's like 23, I believe. He is bringing to the table his vision that he had last year. He talked about it. I've been watching him since. I've been so busy I couldn't really get involved, and I told him that. But Reaching the Unreached Fest. Okay. We are live on the Flavor Radio Network podcast. This on the Fudge. Oh, yeah, I got to talk about it. Awareness. A show discussing. We are discussing your event. So I'm gonna post it on the Flavor Radio Network. as a post that we did this thing. And we'll have the save the date video, and it will have this particular one you're watching now. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. So reaching the unreachfest.com, July 15th through the 17th, 2022, right here in Buffalo, New York. So him and his team are getting this together, and they're featuring Zonti, V Rose, and AI the Anomaly as the headliners. All right, so let's do that. Let's show you. Here it is, Reaching the Unreached Fest. Okay, so amongst other things, we want to support this. You can donate directly to them if you want, but part of the we are putting out information about events that at least is in my sphere of ability to contribute somehow, some way. But you can donate right there. They have a donate page. But Zonti is the so that was my message. We're live on the Flavor Radio Network podcast on the Fudge Awareness Day show discussing your event. And then they said, we appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the ministry. Very cool. So you have a donate page right here. Okay. And I have, all right. So you have, it'll pop up here once you give a donation. I gave a donation. And since I have a payday today, I'm going to be possibly donating even more. But you can help out, okay? They have a page about the sponsors, how to donate, a board. They have board of, they're trying to create this board here. So they got applications for board members if you want to be a part of it. They also have a place for volunteers. And I'm trying to say RTUF, Reach the Unreached Fest Experience Events. So apparently they're doing a lot more events besides just this one. And I think they're doing something, there it is, April 2nd. They did something back in January when I was in Florida, so I couldn't be a part of it. But it's called The Experience Part 2. This is the second fundraiser for the festival. Love Conquers. It's a fundraising event to reach the Unreached Festival. $15 adult, $8 kids under 18. April 22nd, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's at Expressway. I'll bring this up a little bit bigger so people want to look at it. Expressway AG or Assembly of God, 260 Eggert Road, Buffalo, New York. All right. So if you want to be involved, register, buy your tickets. But here's an example of what's going on locally here in Buffalo, New York. Events that I tried to be exclusively involved in as, the Fudge persona. Christian hip-hop world, if you will. Christian rock, which we don't have any really around here. That might be my next level to incorporate. Rock music as a whole has kind of died. Let's just put it that way. Rock music, with the exception of Foo Fighters. Sadly, Taylor Hawkins, the drummer, died this last Friday. With the exception of the Foo Fighters, rock and roll is not really existent in pop culture right now. And we kind of rely on old music, old rock music for some of us who like rock music to get us through this dry season with no rock music. Okay, like Fireflight, okay, a Christian or a band that's Christian that plays on Christian platforms, to me was one of the better bands that's been out for so long. I like them. Skillet is a good band, it's a great band really, but we don't have Christian rock music like we did 15 years ago. or at least people who profess Christianity who play rock music. Some of them got bigger platforms like Evanescence. We don't have any of that though anymore. Anything new, anyways. Hip hop on the other side is, and R&B. Hip hop and R&B are still doing it. They're still going hard. So shout out to them for staying on the grind. So shout out to the Reach the Unreached Fest. Once again, go to that website, reachtheunreachedfest.com, because who knows, you might find an artist there that you'd never heard of. You might find an at the experience event. You might meet people that are like-minded that can help you with your career. You don't know what's going to happen when you do or go to these types of events. You just got to go to them. Got to be present. Got to get out your house. You've been locked up for 2 years. Okay? Get out the house. Go to these events, man, and have some fun again. It seems like some people forgot how to have how to have fun. But it's time to come back to it. Thanks for that like, whoever's watching on Facebook. My boy, Jason Graham. Holla. Watching it on the Fudge Malloy page. Thank you. You're welcome, brother. I'm Fudge Awareness Day is not about just fudge, just so you know. It's about everybody. It's about everything that I'm involved in. Okay? Again, film, music, creative stuff, broadcasting. That's what it's all about, man. That's all we do. That's all I've been doing. So come check it out. Hey, Jason, whenever you get a chance, just go on all the pages and you can put your link there as well. Thanks for listening. So remember the shout out, Fudge and Constant Battle. Okay. And the Spice Rack Show. I got everything archived, man. I got them all. I got all the shows, all the episodes. I'm going to have to relaunch everything all over again. Some of it I might have to post-produce a little bit better. But nevertheless. Okay. And once again, I'm just cross-promoting. The Shawn P. Greene Show is a podcast I do. Been doing that for a month and a half now. Since February 16th, 2022. Actually, season 2, anyways. And I have some great guests on there. Brinson Wright is one of them. Jason Graham talking about his event was on there. So you gotta tune in, man. Figure it out. You gotta figure it out, man. Share all the links. Share the show links. Share the links of all my social media platforms. All right. I'm live. I was live, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook today. And you can always watch this the rest of today. But it's meant for me to bring awareness to the things that I have done, the things that I'm doing, and the things that I will be doing in the future. So, thanks for everybody who did watch and who has been watching on all the platforms. The main platforms I have is Facebook, Fudge Malloy today, and Flavor Radio's YouTube and Flavor Radio's Twitter pages. So, thank you once again for your contributions, those that have. You're going to see more of me on the streets, in the hoods. Fearless Fudge. Doesn't matter if he gets jumped, shot at. If you don't die, he's still going to be there. Somehow, some way, going to make this work. So, I think I'm done. I think I said enough. Fudge Awareness Day is a is a happy day. It's an April Fool's Day, but it's not an April Fool's joke. This is a real deal. Maybe that's why most people are reluctant to join on the show or participate or at least watch it now. Of course, some people are just working. Okay, so I keep that in mind as well. But I just thank you for tuning in, hearing my story, the Fudge story, basically, and listening to me rant and connect with you on any level. It's a non-controversial event, I think. I think it is. I think it's just good times, good vibes. April Fool's jokes, no, but hopefully I get to see. I mean, I'm sure TikTok's going to have thousands of great videos out there today, or Instagram even, little short videos maybe on YouTube. Looking forward to tuning in to some of your weird jokes and pranks and all that kind of stuff. I think one of the best shows out there was, I would say was sometimes my brain slow processing sometimes up there. Austin Kutcher's show, Punked, I think was the funniest one. It was celebrities punking celebrities, rich people punking rich people. But, whatever. It was entertaining. It was good enough to entertain thousands of people watching around the world. But it was funny. I would say it was one of the best ones out there. It's not like dangerous like, Johnny Knoxville's stuff. So that's it. That's all I got. You tell me what you think. Tell me what you liked from all the things that I've done. And tell me give me suggestions on what I can do either better or something new. I'm always open, man. I'm always open for suggestions. I'm always open to collaborate with people, provided I have the opportunity and time and the resources. So I'm willing to do something with you if you willing to work with me. And when I say work with me, I said, don't be stingy. If you made some money, don't be stingy. If you're struggling, all right, I could be in a struggle with you. Struggle is real. But don't be stingy. If you make some money, don't be stingy. If I help you, don't be stingy. So that's it. That's all I got. Thank you for listening. Shawn P. Greene is my real name. Shawn P. Greene Show is my real show. Right now I'm just checking in on the Fudge network of people. The Flavor Radio Network. I almost considered changing it to Fudge Radio Network. But the Flavor Radio Network. Tune in, man. We got more coming. Believe me. More's coming. Fudge Awareness Day, April 1st, 2022. Thank you for tuning in, liking, commenting, rewatching this, resharing this video to everybody, donating, everything. Just give me words of encouragement. Comment on the different platforms, the posts, wherever they're at. Just give me a comment. Just, hey, Fudge, you're doing a good thing. Thank you for doing it. Hey, Shawn, you're an idiot, but I love you anyways. Whatever. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. I just participate. Be a part of this with me, and let's make history, man. Let's make things happen. Let's do it before the next stupid pandemic wants to arise. And they want to lock us down because they're control freaks. Thank you, everybody. I love you. I care about you. And I want to work with you. All right? Keep it locked, Shawn P. Greene, Flavor Radio Network. ShawnPGreene.com. All the links for everything are there for both platforms, for both worlds, so to speak. Okay? I got interviews on Shawn P. Greene. You got to watch that Brinson video. It was awesome. We had a good time. All right, everybody, I'm out. Just keep sharing this link for this Fudge Awareness Day all day today. And maybe we'll do this again next year. Similarly, I'll have probably material content. Who knows? So keep it locked, bro.